And I remember feeling like, if you can do this, like, that will be huge. And so I lost the weight. Oh, hello, sisters. We are back. Welcome to today's video. I am so excited to be talking to you guys. So first things first, I need you to stop, pause the video, go get yourself a warm cup of coffee, a little cup of tea, because we are having cozy chat time. A lot to talk about today. I just want y'all to get comfy, okay? So hello, sisters. I am so happy that you are back. I am very passionate about this topic. So today we are going to be talking about how I changed my life as a single mom and how I truly made my dreams become a reality. Now, I can't talk about this without really giving y'all my backstory. Shameless plug, by the way. I wrote an ebook. It's called So You're a Single Mom, that goes really in depth into my story, and it really goes in depth into this topic. It was literally like me creating a book on, okay, if I were to rewind 5 years ago and I was a single mom again, what would I want to know? What would I wish someone would have told me? What tools could I have used? What resources, budgeting, all of that. I put everything in that book. Everything. I put my heart and soul into that book. It's reusable. It works really well on the iPad. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that in the description. It's only $30 and I put my heart and soul into that, and I've gotten a lot of different feedback that people really liked it and helped them. So just wanted to remind y'all of that because I haven't shared that on this channel yet. I became a single mom 5 years ago. And at the time, I was not making a lot of money. I was overweight. I was depressed, and nothing in my life felt good. Aside from the fact that I loved being a mom. I absolutely loved being a mom and still do. But I felt extremely lost. There didn't seem to be any light at the end of the tunnel in my life at the time. So 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago now, me and their dad separated. He left the house. And also, side note, I'm going to be talking as minimal about their dad as possible because I don't ever want that to be what my channel is about. You're never going to hear me bad mouthing him or anything like that. All y'all need to know is he's their dad. He loves them. They love him. So I'm going to give very minimal details on that. But just know he left the house. And I was in the house that we had originally moved into. Now, at the time, my rent was, and I'm going to give you all the details because I want to be vulnerable with y'all because I don't know who's watching this, and I hope that this video can serve as encouragement. But I want to give you all the details. So at the time, I think my rent was $18.95, and this is pre-COVID. I feel like we think of things in our head as pre-COVID, post-COVID. Like BC and whatever. Pre-COVID, my rent at the time was $18.95. We were splitting all bills before he left. I was paying a couple extra actually, but it was $18.95. At the time, I didn't make a lot, but I made barely just too much to be able to get on any sort of government assistance. So at that time, I was making barely just over the amount. If you're in that position, you know. So I did not qualify for any food stamps. I did not qualify for childcare help. And both of my kids were young. They were both in daycare. So I was paying for 2 childcare tuitions. I think the total was like over $2,000 a month. So $2,000 a month plus my $18.95 rent plus all other bills. When he left, I had no idea how I was going to be able to pay for those bills. Like I've always been very driven, and I've always put myself in a position where, okay, if I have to do it on my own, I'm going to make a way. That was the beginning of that journey. So I remember at the time I was working as a CSM. My journey really got great for my corporate career, but at the time I was working as a CSM. And I was making like maybe I don't remember how much I was making, but I just remember being like, oh my gosh. I remember sitting down, doing my budget and thinking like, how am I going to do this? And I remember feeling so unconfident about every single aspect of my life. That's the biggest thing that I remember from that time. Being so inconfident. I didn't have a tribe at the time. I had no friends. I had moved out to Texas from Ohio. I'm originally from Ohio. I had moved out here for my ex. All of his family was here. All of my family was in Ohio. So I moved out here. So I moved out to Texas with no friends, no family, no nothing. And it was very difficult. I felt like every single aspect of my life was a mess. I felt like every single aspect of my life was discouraging and depressing. And I was depressed. And my depression, the way that I had exhibited coping, or the way that I coped, was eating. To be specific, I was eating chocolate cake like every single night. Like Matilda. I was eating chocolate cake. It's funny because me and my best friend joke now, because I had shortly met my best friend at this time, which was extremely helpful in my journey of just knowing that I can get out of my situation. But I had met my best friend at the time, and I always like joked about how much I loved cake, but she didn't know at the time it was because I was depressingly eating it, and that's how I was coping. So I was depressed. I was eating these cakes. That just sounds crazy. But I was depressed. I was eating hella cake, not moving my body. All things that just make things so much worse. And I remember, so at the time, I then started to find my tribe. I started to make friends. I met my best friend, and then I met other people through her who I all now consider best friends. And I remember doing my budget, and I remember feeling so discouraged, and I remember being like, you know what, you can find another CSM role that makes the amount that you need. And I remember praying to God about it. Lord, I don't know how I'm going to do what I am going to do, but I know that you would not let me fail. I know that you have your hands on my life, on my children's life. A week later, I got a LinkedIn message for a job that paid not only my bills, but more than what I needed. And that kind of gave me a little bit of a boost. I was like, okay, I'm good financially. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to be thriving in any sense, like, but I was going to be good. I was going to be comfortable. I was going to be able to not only provide, but like do nice things every once in a while, go to the movies and things like that. So I remember being really excited about that and just about being able to provide. If you've ever struggled, which most of my life up until that point was a struggle. If you've struggled, you know the feeling of like running your numbers and doing a budget and being like, okay, I can pay for everything. For so long, I did budgets, and it wasn't a matter of how am I going to move this money. It was, I need more money. So I remember feeling like, ooh, okay, I feel good about this. Now, this is what I feel like it was the catalyst on my journey. My weight loss journey. When I tell you my weight loss journey changed my life, I am not exaggerating. And I think there's a lot to be said about why God tells us to treat our body like a temple. And it's because how we feel about our body and how we're feeling affects so many areas of our life. So this was in 2021 or 2022. I think it was 21 or 22. I remember I had just gotten back from a trip with my company, my previous company that I actually just got laid off from. I can do a story time on that later. But I remember getting back from that trip, and I remember seeing pictures of myself, and I remember feeling so sad, so disappointed. There were moments I was looking at pictures and I was like, is that me? Because I had never been a big girl. All of my life, and I'll insert pictures of all the things around me. My big pictures, my little skinny, my life pictures, but my entire life, I had an extremely fast metabolism. I was always on ADHD medicine. I've had that since I was 9. I have always been super thin. I've always been trying to gain weight. My whole life, it was, how can I gain weight? How can I gain weight? I'm trying to be slim, thick. I never was big. So to go from my whole life being super skinny to then like, it felt like I blinked and it was like, whoa, all of a sudden now I'm really overweight. And it was like it happened so fast. And so I remember seeing pictures of myself and being like, I don't even recognize myself. The light in my eyes was gone. And I just was so sad that I had let it get to that point. But I remember kind of a snap happened in my head and I was like, no more. I don't want to feel like this about myself. And so that is when, I think it was 2021 or 22, don't quote me, I can look back and look. I went on my weight loss journey and I really stuck to it this time. I really locked in, I focused, and I was like, I am going to make a change. I was like, if I can do this, keep in mind, there had never been really any big goals in my life that I had achieved up until this point. I've always been a big dreamer. I've always been someone who feels like I deserve so much in life, but I had not achieved big goals. Every year I would write down my goals, yet I rarely achieved them. And I remember feeling like, if you can do this, like, that will be huge. And so I lost the weight. I remember losing the weight and feeling like a new person. The light was back in my eyes. I started to feel like you can achieve goals. So after I lost the weight and I realized, oh, you can actually do what you set your mind to, it was a snowball effect. Because I've always been creative my entire life. I've always been creative. If you ask any of my family, I used to try to get them to record me performing, singing. I played piano. I took acting classes. I've always had this love for creativity. But when I gained weight, I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to film. I definitely didn't want to create content. And when I was super uncomfortable, not because I felt uncomfortable creating, but because I felt uncomfortable just watching myself back. If you have been uncomfortable with your body, then you can relate to that. Coffee break. So I had lost the weight and I was like, hold up. I can achieve things that I set my mind to. So once I lost that weight, it was a snowball effect. I started setting goals and I started achieving them. So about a year after my weight loss, I was like, you know what? I have always written myself off when it comes to content creation. All of my friends around me at the time were creating content. And I remember thinking like, oh, that seems so fun. Like, especially once I lost the weight. And I was like, but that's not for me. Like, what would I talk about? I'm a single mom. You know what I mean? So I talked about this on my Instagram recently in a reel. I felt the calling. I felt the purpose. But I was writing myself off. God had opened the door and I wasn't even walking into the door so he could show me what he had for me. And so after the weight loss, about a year after I lost weight, I started looking on Instagram for content creators like me and I wasn't finding it. And what I mean by that is when I first started creating content, and I'll try to find some old clips, I was creating content about like packing lunches and mom hacks and stuff like that. I was doing what I saw other people doing, what other mom creators were doing, but it wasn't resonating with me. It wasn't fulfilling. And I remember I got prophesized over in a Walmart. Huh? I don't know why this story will never not be funny to me. I'm going to try to make this story really short, even though I always make it long. Essentially, right as I was considering doing content creating, I had put out a few little things here and there, but it was not something that I took seriously. I was in a Walmart and I was by myself and I was walking in the hair care aisle and I met this man. It was a black man. He had on a veteran's hat and he came up to me and I remember not feeling bothered at all. I felt so at peace. And if you're a woman, you know that that's not common. I am highly anxious when it comes to being out and about. I struggle with being in public. I have a lot of big fears. And especially when it comes to men. So this man coming up to me, any other time would be on very high alert. Like, what do you want? Like, why are you coming to talk to me? But there was such a peace. And it was only something that God could have given me at the time. Because it was very similar to when I had my C-section. I prayed for peace and it overcame me. It was a very similar feeling. He came up to me. Keep in mind, I didn't have anything in my cart. I had just lost all my weight. I was feeling good. I was just going to get some hair care stuff. Didn't have anything in my cart. He came up to me and he was like, how many kids do you have? Or he said something about me being a mom. Like, how many kids do you have? And I was like, 2. And he was just, no. That's not the first thing he said to me. The first thing he said to me, he was walking down the aisle. I was in the hair aisle. He was walking down the main aisle, stopped, came up to me, and he goes, I was just about to tell you that you are a light, but God just told me and wanted me to tell you that you are the apple of his eye. And I felt so comfortable when he was talking to me. He was like, and then he was like, how many kids do you have? And I was like, 2. And again, I felt very comfortable, very at peace when I was talking to him. And he was like, you're an amazing mom. He was like, you don't see it from your family. He was like, your family probably doesn't make you feel like this. And this is why God wants me to tell you, which is true. He goes, but you are the apple of his eye. He was like, he knew I was a single mom, which is weird too. Like, and then he was basically saying, he was like, you don't know it, but you are going to inspire so many women and mothers around the world. He was like, mothers are going to be looking up to you. You are going to be leading women to Christ. And I remember thinking like, okay, how? I remember, again, I felt so comfortable talking to him. Everything he was saying, I'm like, yes, that does sound like what I want to do. Yes, that does sound exactly like what I would love to do. That does sound like my calling. But in my head, I'm thinking, how? Like, okay, yeah, this is good. But practically, I was thinking practically, okay, how am I going to be doing this? And then he was like, I want you to go and read the book of Esther. And now that I've read Esther, it's really cool that he suggested that. Definitely a God thing. But anyways, so at the time I had this prophecy. Fast forward a couple months. That's when I started really creating content that I wish that I had had. Keep in mind, I'm about 2 months post single mom journey. And I was like, at the time, now there's more people doing it. At the time, there weren't a lot of creators who were posting about the actual hardships of being a single mom, posting about the vulnerability and being honest about it. I didn't see any creators doing that. I saw a lot of mom creators, but it was a lot of positive content. It was a lot of complete families, a mom and a dad, or it was moms on their own, but they weren't talking about being a single mom. So I remember just being like, I want to talk about this. And I had a reel, and it was my viral reel. It hit 2 million followers. And I was talking about how co-parenting sucks. And that is the reel that completely, I think that reel hit, I think I was at 7K. That reel took me from 7 to like 20. I'll have to check the analytics of it. But it did really, really well. And I continued posting content like that. And then my girls found me. And I remember being like, okay, like God is bringing me these women. Now I want him to help me, do something with this community. So I started taking my content journey very seriously this year in January. I talked about it in my last video, but I was at 7 to 9K. I don't remember. I'll have to look back. And now I'm at almost 60. And I fully believe that God brought me every single person who's watching this video, every single person who follows me on Instagram, because he wants me to be real about life and he wants me to spread his love. And that content creator journey just started off as something, when I said I wanted to be serious about it in the beginning of this year, I was like, okay, I want to start trying to make money from it. I feel like this is something that I could turn into a second stream of income. At the time, I was working a corporate job in the beginning of this year, making over 6 figures. I was doing really well financially, but I had this big pull on my heart, which I now know God was doing that because he knows everything. But I was like, I want to create content. I want to replace my corporate income with creating content. I want both. you know? And so I started to really take content seriously. I was posting every single day. In the beginning of this year, every single day I was posting. If I wasn't posting every day, it was every other day. I had a reel up like this. And I loved it. And I still love it. I still love creating content. And he doesn't put those desires on your heart for no reason. So I was creating content, and then I think around June or July, I got my first like big brand deal. And I was like, okay, this check kind of nice. This is what they're paying in the content creator world. And I remember being excited because I was like, okay. And I came up with this whole plan. I was like, okay, so I am going to be doubling up my income. This is going to be a great way for me to hit a whole bunch of goals that I had set. And I was really excited about it. And so I kind of want to just stop there, because when I talk about how I changed my life as a single mom and how I made my goals a reality, now that you have the backstory, I want to talk about the things that I did over those years to really bring all of my goals to reality. Now, we're not going to end here on this story in its entirety. In the next video, I'll kind of go into where I'm at now and kind of what's going on, but I want to pause there. So here are some things, and here is some advice, now that you have my backstory, that I would give any single mom who wants to make their goals a reality, who wants to change their life. These are the things that I did that I feel like really changed my life. Number 1, creating a routine and a structure. This was extremely hard for me because I have ADHD. Routine does not come natural to me, but it is something that I am very strict about. My kids have a set bedtime routine. We do the same thing every night and the same thing every morning. And this was really helpful because in the beginning of my journey, I was struggling to find a routine because A, because of my ADHD, B, there's so much. When you're a single mom, you do it all. You're not tag teaming anyone in. Especially, I don't have family here. I can't bring my kids to my family. It's just me. You know what I mean? And so, and especially in the beginning, we didn't have any co-parenting schedule. I was just doing it all. And so it was really a struggle because I'm like, okay, I have to cook dinner and give them a bath and play with them. And at the time, my son, he was 3, my daughter was 1. Those are tough ages. One's still in diapers, one barely is out of them. You know what I mean? And those are very needy ages. And at the age that they were, those are developmentally tough ages. They're learning independence while also learning defiance. You know, so there's a lot of hands-on there. But creating a routine really helped them, because routine does 2 things. Routine provides children with safety and security, and it provides us with a peace of mind. And creating a routine really helped me to create time blocks in my day. So that way I didn't feel like, oh my goodness, I'm going 500 miles per hour a day, yet I'm still not getting things done and I have no time for myself. So I highly recommend, number 1, creating a routine. And let me know if you want me to do a full video on how to create a routine, specifically having ADHD, because I could talk about that for forever and I'd be happy to help. If y'all want to know what your days could look like in the beginning or anything like that, let me know if y'all want me to do a separate video on creating routines and what my routines look like. Number 2, and really this could be number 1. I wish I could reverse the orders, but this is more important. Seek after God. Now, everyone has different beliefs. If you are a believer, I highly encourage you to tune into God. Tune into His Word. Because if you are not listening to Him, you cannot fully hear and understand what your purpose and calling is. I would not have started the content creation journey if I was not actively seeking God at the time. I was not dating. I was really just trying to listen to what God had for me, and that allowed me to understand and hear what He had to say to me. So often we can't hear Him because we have so many distractions going on. So I highly, highly, highly encourage you to press into God. Find a church community. Find your sisters in Christ. Hold each other accountable. Seek after God. Okay, that's number 2. Okay, number 3 is going to be finding your tribe. Now, again, I could do a whole nother video on this, but I will just say who you surround yourself with is extremely important. Who you surround yourself with will make a difference in your life, in your actions, in the way you think. You have to be very picky about who you are surrounding yourself with, and you have to make sure the people you are surrounding yourself with are actually rooting for you. If you are hanging out with people who don't really have any goals, who gossip all the time, who make bad decisions, always drinking, don't really take care of their responsibilities, that's going to be you. And you may think, oh, no. It's easier to drag a person down a cliff than it is to pull a person up a cliff. And there's a reason why there's a quote that the 5 people you surround yourself with are the 5 people you surround yourself with, you gonna be the 6th. And I fully believe that's true because in the beginning of my single mom journey, I wasn't surrounding myself with the people who really had my best in mind, encouraging me in the way that friends should. And when I look at achieving my goals and how my life has changed, having a supportive, loving tribe who truly care about not only you, but your child or children, it's invaluable. You cannot put a price on that. Especially if you live in a city, you don't have any family, you have to find your tribe. It does actually take a village to raise a child or children, but we don't all have the village of a family or the village of brothers, sisters, moms, dads, you know what I mean? I don't know what your village looks like, but I do know that you can find friends and you can build a friendship circle where you support and uplift one another. So that is super important to find your tribe. Next tip, let's talk about finances. Again, I keep saying this for all of them, but I am more than happy to. Let me know because finances is a big topic. I am more than happy to do an entire video on finances alone. Okay, because I understand that feels like a whole nother world. But from a financial aspect, don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Okay? Set a budget and stick to it. If you have ADHD like me, you need to make budgeting fun. Get some cute highlighters. Set a time up every single month right before you get paid or right after you get paid. I would say before you get paid. That way you don't see the money hit your account and get excited. Have a place for all of your money to go. In my ebook that I just talked about, I have a budgeting template and I have a whole chapter on finances. But you have to take control of your finances because you can't out-earn bad budgeting skills. So if you don't learn to budget your money, especially if you are the only income that you have for you and your child or children, it is so important to be financially smart. And I think one thing people don't realize is finances is a skill. It isn't something that you have to be born with or have to be blessed with or born into. You can teach yourself to be good at finances. You can teach yourself to be financially aware. I would say the thing that I made the mistake of in the beginning of my single mom journey is trying to do too much. Trying to keep up with things that I didn't compete in. And it wasn't even a matter of like, oh, I want to do that too. Like they're doing it. It was just like, oh, I want to do that. You know what I mean? But it's like, if I was being real with myself, should I have been doing that? No. Was I okay? Yes. My kids have always been taken care of. My bills have been paid. I have been fine. But my life really changed when I learned to say no to things and prioritize. For example, a great example would be I had a goal of moving into a new home. I did that this year, which I'm really excited about. I love this house, y'all. But I wanted to move into this home in the beginning, or I wanted to move into this home over the summer before the kids started school. That was my goal. So from January until June, July, there were things that I had to say no to in order to set myself up for success with the move, in order to have plenty of money for moving and furniture and things like that. So, You have to set a budget and you have to stick to it and learn to be okay with saying no to things, because your life will not change financially. If you get some money, you spend all the money. You have to learn to save. You can do cash envelopes. Again, I can do an entire video dedicated solely to just finances. Let me know, because I am happy to do that. We can get into the nitty gritty. Another thing that I did that really helped my life to change is to really start taking care of myself, and not just in terms of from a aesthetically pleasing way. Yes, I lost the weight, and I actually lost some more, y'all. I'm feeling good. Okay, I weighed myself yesterday. I was looking in the mirror after I did my workup and I said, hold up, just wait until summer, okay? Get a little color, get a little swimsuit. Anyways, not just the aesthetics, but taking care of my inner self. And that's two parts of that. A, my actual inner self, prioritizing gut health, taking pre and probiotics, taking my ADHD medicine. We can do a whole nother ADHD video. Taking my ADHD medicine, taking my iron medicine. I'm anemic. So really just doing a better job of taking care of myself. I also got these L-theanine drinks. They're these calm drinks. I'm gonna link them below because I absolutely love them, but they help with cortisol levels. So not just focusing on what's gonna make my body look good, but what's gonna make me feel good. When I was in that dark, depressing time, I remember a big thing that stands out is I was always so tired. And y'all wanna know why? Because I was eating cake every night. My sugar levels were probably all over the place, and I was not eating healthy. And when you don't eat healthy, you're not going to feel good. Even if you're staying within your calories that you need to, which when I went on that weight loss journey, I did a calorie deficit. If you are eating 1,200 calories of crap, you're going to feel like crap. You have to eat to fuel your body. And that's not always fun. It's not always super amazing and tasty, but we have to start eating to live and not living to eat. I had a good period of living to eat. I was eating. And everything I ate, I wanted it to be big and heavy and burger and fries and filling and seafood boils. I was putting down some seafood boils. But we have to take care of our body. We have to fuel our body so we can feel good, so we can get through the day without being exhausted at the end of the day. Take care of your inner body. Go book a doctor's appointment so you can get your hormones and all your blood and all the things checked. Start taking care of your inner body. Y'all, last but certainly not least, the biggest thing that I did to make my goals a reality is to be confident, bold, and loud about my goals. Y'all, 2024 was life-changing. I went into 2024 proclaiming my goals, speaking them into existence. I didn't talk about my goals ever for so long. And a big part of that is because I don't think I wanted to be held accountable, because I was unsure if I would hit them. When you sharing goals loud and proud and then you don't hit them, that's embarrassing. But guess what? It lit a fire under my ass to want to hit them even more. I went on TikTok and Instagram and I shared with my little community at the time. I was like, listen, y'all, I was at 7 or 8. I was like, I'm going to hit 10K by my birthday. I'm going to move into my new house in the summer. I'm going to host my parents for Thanksgiving. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And guess what? I achieved almost all of those goals. The only goal I did not achieve out of the ones that I shared was my Mercedes, which I'm going to get this year. But I don't have a car note. My car is fully paid off. I decided after my corporate layoff, now that I'm doing content creating full time, I want to wait on that. Like we talked about before, making good financial decisions. I want to wait, and I want to be able to get it, and I want to be able to put down almost all of the amount. So that is the only goal that I did not hit, but every single other goal I hit. I hit 10K, then I hit 40, then I hit 50. I was able to host my parents in my new house. I moved into my new home in July. I had amazing circle of friends supporting and cheering me on throughout all of this. So when I look back at my life 5 years ago, everything that I didn't have then, I have now. A close relationship with God, financial abundance, hitting goals, confidence in myself, confidence in my body. So I hope that if you are watching this video, it instills confidence in what you can do. I want you to think about where you are currently right now. I always think about my journey as gardening. When I was in that rough period, in that really hard time, my garden was full of weeds, okay? Patchy grass, full of weeds. At the time, I couldn't be where I'm at now. The flowers and plants were not blooming because I needed to do some weeding. I needed to remove some people from my life. I needed to get closer to God. I needed to change up my habits. I needed to create a routine. I needed to weed, get all the bad stuff out. Then I was able to plant new soil. I was able to plant some seeds, my weight loss journey. I had people pouring into me and watering me, finding my tribe. I started to have confidence in myself. I saw the light, the sun, and I started to bloom. Now my flowers are here, and it's a garden, and it's something that I can share with others. And so I hope you take the time, think about what season you're in. Don't look at my flowers and compare your gardening timeline with my flowers, because there's a lot of work that has been done here. And if you are in the weeding season, perfect. Weed it up. Let's get started. If you are in the planting seed season, perfect. If you're in the flower season, if you're blooming, perfect. But I want you to think about, what season are you in right now? What are your goals? I want you to write out your goals. When you write out your goals, I want you to do it in a way of speaking it into existence in present tense. The way that I write out my goals is I love that I can drive my new car and pick up my kids in it. I love that I have moved into my new house and am unpacking. I'm really excited about how I check my bank account and see X amount. I want you to write out your goals. I want you to take the time to look at your budget. What do you need to do to get to where you want to be? Is it picking up another stream of income? Is it picking up the camera, sis, and starting that content journey? Because let me tell you, if there's anything you can learn from me, it's a lot can change in a year, especially when you serve a God like our Father. Creating a routine. Do you have any time in your day to even breathe? Create a routine. Make sure you are taking the time to provide time for yourself. Give you and your kid or kids or just yourself structure. Take care of your body. Go move your body. If you make a transformation with your body, I promise it'll be the catalyst to your journey as well. Go move your body, even if it's just going on a walk. A walk is free. You don't need a gym membership. Watch a video on YouTube. Go on a stroller walk with your baby. Move your body and take care of your body. Go get your blood checked. Are you anemic too? If so, you got to get the iron pill, sis. But just do things to take care of your body. Find your tribe. Take a look at the people who you are surrounding yourself. Do you want to be like them? If you don't, that should tell you something. Do they uplift you? Do they encourage you? So these are just a few things. I hope that y'all appreciated this video. And I hope that you leave this video with the confidence to know that whatever you're going through, this too shall pass. And you are capable and deserving of the things that you desire in your life. God does not put desires on our heart for no reason. And if He is calling you somewhere, I highly encourage you to listen. I am fully confident that all of my single moms can have a very similar journey as I, because if I did it, I'm hard-headed, I'm stubborn, and I really don't listen that well. If I can do it, you absolutely can do it. So, with that being said, let me know if y'all want to see any follow-up videos of this, whether it's the routine, the finances, the ADHD, the finding your tribe. I'm here to give y'all all the content that you want. I love y'all and I appreciate you for tuning in, and I will see y'all in the next video. Love you. Bye.